everybody, Shawn Tubbs here. Thanks for tuning in. I love this Aerosmith song, Love in an Elevator. The second I heard that riff, I had to learn it. So I thought, man, this would be a fun one to teach you guys. Now, I'm not going to teach you the whole song. I really just want to focus on that opening riff. Mainly so you can learn the riff, which sounds deceptively easy, but it's really not. Especially if you kind of misfinger it, you'll do a lot of this stuff, which is story of my life. But I digress. It's a really cool riff, and I thought after you've learned the riff, the best thing you can always do is take a riff that you've learned, which will probably be something that you've never really played before, and once you've got it under your fingers, try to tweak it into something that you already do, which is really important because that's how you can expand your vocabulary as a player and not just end up sounding like everybody else because you learned a solo line exactly the way someone else did it. So let's start just by learning. I'm going to cut this riff into two pieces. So let's start by learning the first half, and then we'll get to the second half. So you're going to start on the A string on the 7th fret. And the way to remember that is it's the octave up from E. This whole riff is basically an E, kind of almost an E blues. So you'll just start with the A string, 7th fret, octave up. That's how you remember that. So what you're going to do is start A string, 7th fret. You're going to slide up to the 9th fret. And then you're going to come down to the 5th fret, back up to the 7th fret, and then down to the E string on the 7th fret, and then back up to the A string's 5th fret, and then back down to the E string on the 7th fret. So that's the first half of the riff. The second half of the riff all happens on one string, and that's on the low E string. So we got the first half. Now we'll do the second half. You're going to start on the 6th fret E string, and you're going to slide down to the 5th fret. And then you're going to hit the 3rd fret, back up to the 5th fret, and then back down to the 3rd fret, and then all the way up to the 7th fret, and then open. So it's kind of based on like a blues, but it's just kind of a modified blues. The nice thing is it all happens on one string. Once again, starting at the 6th fret, slide down to the 5th, and then 3rd fret, back up to the 5th fret, down to the 3rd fret, and slide up to the 7th, and then open. So that's the whole riff. So we can try it real slow real quick. 2, 3, 4. So you'll start it slow, make sure you're fretting it cleanly, and then of course you can bring it up to tempo, which I think is around 91. Now the one thing I'll point out is it's the same riff 4 times. The only thing that happens is you're going to push the second 2 first notes of the riff. So you're going to start on the downbeat for the first 2 times you do it. So 2, 3, 4. But on the second half of it, you're actually going to push. It's going to happen on the 2, 3, 4 and up. So if you really want to be technical and play it proper, that's how it goes. So that's the riff. Now, once you've got that riff kind of under your fingers, you can start kind of thinking of ways to plug that into something you may already do. And the thing I instantly focus on is really the first part of the riff. So if we were in E and you wanted to take a solo starting low, you could do like a... And that's just me goofing around going, how can I plug this in to something I already know? And so it just kind of gives you a new, almost just idea and cadence or pattern that you may not have ever done in a solo. And you can base it all off of pentatonic scales that you already know. So that's a good way to just kind of, you know... And another thing you can do too, and it's what I do a lot, is what I'll do is go, I'll take the riff and think, okay, well, it's in E, but what if I took the same exact pattern and did it more of a blues? So you could just go up an octave. But what if we did it more based on a pentatonic scale in the key of E, this one? Everybody knows that scale. Basically, do it here. That would be cool. So now we're not playing the exact notes, which would be the up an octave would be here. But I just moved it up basically a fourth, which would be, you know, if we were doing it in A, and play that over like an E blues. That sounds cool. And then, you know, what I'll do too is maybe think about just changing one note instead of going. What if I change it and go? You know, so that's me just trying to figure out how can I plug it into a riff I already do. You know, and then kind of displace it. You know, the sky's the limit. Just use your imagination. But that's what you should always do is when you learn a new riff, it could be, you know, Life in the Fast Lane or a cool Zeppelin riff, whatever it is, turn it into a solo riff, turn it into an idea, and expand your playing beyond just learning the riff itself. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that one at you guys. I love that song and I really dig that riff, so I thought I'd let you guys kind of goof around with it. Once you you know, once you have it learned, you can, you know, try some new stuff with it. So thanks for tuning in.